Play games if you want to. Play games if you want to, because you know what we say about it. Mess around and find out. Mess around and find out. Listen, I was having a peaceful day. I was in my read a book and mind my business era, as I have been, okay? I was drinking tea. I was inhaling the word of God. You know, I was touching grass. I was reclaiming joy. You know, things that we need to do so that the book talk and book thread demons don't steal our peace. And then, you know, I logged in. One scroll. That's all it took. A single scroll. And suddenly I'm knee deep in a creator meltdown where someone, and I cannot stress this enough, decided to make it their life mission to repeatedly tag Adalyn Grace in negative reviews. Now, in case your spirit left your body like mine did, yes, she really made it her life mission after being called out for the absolute chaos, which is tagging an author in a negative review, which I thought we had come to the point where all of us as a community recognized and agreed that that was absolute crud. You know, literally something terrible to do. As in, it just signals to me that you have no decorum. And I can't even say decorum anymore. I feel like that word doesn't encapsulate what I'm talking about. So you know what? You have no decorism. I feel like it is the most appropriate word for this absolute dumpster fire. You, my dear, have no decorism. Like, no decorism anywhere. It wasn't found in this entire situation, you know? You literally made it like your life mission after being called out for doing something wrong, you know? As in, she like made it her life mission, guys. As in, not career, not goals, not I hope to learn Spanish and read 100 books this year. No, you know what she chose for her purpose in life after this little debacle? Yeah, bullying an author online. You know? And the wildest part is that she posted this proudly. She was posting all of this proudly. Like it was an inspiring quote for Pinterest girlies. Oh my gosh. This is why I say reviewing books in 2025 is not for the weak. Writing books in 2025 is not for the weak, you know? It's not for the faint of heart. And it is certainly not for people who think tagging authors in hate content is a personality trait, you know? I was losing my mind when I was going through this. I said, you know what, it's too soon. You know, my eyes were still recovering. I still wasn't reading too much, still wasn't engaging online too much. And, you know, the moment I decide, oh, you know what, let's have a little bit of fun because I'm doing better. You know, I'm back at work, so clearly I can go online. And this is what I see. This is what I see. Just this pile of rubbish. Guys, I just can't. Oh my gosh. I can't. This is the type of thing that would probably destroy my eyes again. Like, come on. They're already suffering. They're already struggling. And you decided to hurt them with this crap? Like, girl, are you okay? Before we get into it, though, I know that some people are just like, oh, who is this girl yelling at me? And it's not even me who did all this crap. Little bit of introduction. I am Shelly, like if you couldn't tell by the name of this channel. But you know, some channels lie. So I am Shelly. I am your resident book lover, commentary lover, discourse runner. Like, you know, I'm your friend. I'm your girl. I'm gonna let you know the truth, you know? I'm not gonna lie to you. That being said, I am slightly unhinged. You know, every now and then I let out my unhinged energy on the internet. My friends, the people who know me, like, they know this is me on a day-to-day basis. They will never be shocked by anything I say. They know this is your girl. But you guys, you know, especially if you're new, you don't know that yet, but too bad. I'm not gonna hide it. But now that we've done our introduction, let's get into it, okay? You know what, guys? I feel like I've said this on this channel before, and I'm not the only person who said it on their individual channels, you know? Like I said, we as a community, we came together and we agreed that this was, you know, not okay to do, you know? Because it's not. But since clearly some people didn't get the memo, like, we need to establish the first basic rule of reviewing, you know? Reviews are for readers, you know? They're for readers, not for authors, not for publishers even. They're not for public shaming either, yeah? They are for readers, you know? This is not the Hunger Games for reading. This is not the Hunger Games for literature. There is no reason to tag an author in a mean review unless your goal is to legit start violence, to farm engagement, which is honestly what I think she was doing when she realized how much backlash she was getting from tagging the author in the negative review, you know? Reviews are also not to fulfill your villain origin story, you know? So imagine my shock when I see the screenshots. I was just like, ugh. And for those of you, I just realized I haven't actually said who it was who was doing all of this. They go by the name Madame Mandeville on Instagram. And, you know, what I find really, really insane about the screenshot that really made me aware of the chaos is where I found out that she won't let anyone tag her, but she's cool with tagging authors and negative reviews, even after the author makes it clear that they don't want to be involved in your negativity. So let them go. You can believe what you want to, but don't be tagging them. But no, Miss Madame Mandeville didn't agree with that. Okay? Now listen. I try to give everyone a fair chance. You guys, if you have been on this channel for a minute, you know I really do. But this? Oh, no. This is Olympic level hypocrisy. I'm so sorry. I'm really struggling to give you any bits of chances, like any of it. You don't want anyone tagging you, you know? But you're tagging an author in content where you say her book is effing awful, if I remember correctly. Babes, sweetie, my dear, you know, honeydew melon, if you will. That's not reviewing, you know? That's harassment dressed up in Canva aesthetic, you know? And you don't even really have a cute aesthetic to be doing these reviews. So, come on, let's get it together here. Now, let's break down exactly what happened, at least from what I saw. Now, keep in mind, this was stupid from the onset to me. I looked at the situation and I said, this is absolutely stupid. And I didn't want to dive deep into it so as to mess up the good week I was having. So, you know what? I probably won't have too many details, but I'm gonna let you know how it just went down, you know? Because when I tell you the levels of absolute chaos. Oh, okay. Okay, so first, the creator reviews the book. I believe it was Belladona. Funny enough, that book is on my list, but like it's far down the list because I have other things that I'm just like, ooh, priority. But it's still on my list because, you know, people love the book and it looks like it'll be a fun book. I don't even know what the book is about, but it just looks like a fun book, you know? But yeah. They read the book. Okay, fine. Opinions are opinions. Like, that's not an issue. We're all individual, and we've accepted that we're all going to have differing opinions in this life. That's okay. I honestly don't care, you know? There are certain books I will go to war for, like Six of Crows, but, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, the creator disliked Belladonna. I believe Belladonna was the book. Correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, the creator disliked the book. Again, fine. Not every book is going to hit with everybody. That is completely okay. We're not going to beef you for that. But then the creator posts like 3-part rant. I believe it was 3 parts because it was on like Instagram stories. So, you know, you kind of lose track of when you're like clicking sometimes. Yeah. They post like a rant, multiple parts, trashing the book. And they tag Adalyn Grace, you know. We're already slipping on the slope of madness, you know, the minute that happens, yeah? Now, I believe, because I got lost in so many people making posts about this situation, I remember that there was a story literally saying, sharing this because some people deserve to be, like, shamed for what they tag authors in, because what you said is an opinion, not a fact. And then I remember seeing that Adalyn Grace actually reposted it herself. Now, if I can find that screenshot, I'll put it here. But honestly, there were so many things going on. Now, Adalyn's response was basically, I'm begging you, take your opinions to Goodreads, not to me. Like, I did not request this energy. And she's right. You know, authors setting boundaries is very, very healthy, especially when we have been screaming about how reviews are for readers, and authors should keep their distance from reviewer spaces because it's for us, it's for readers, and she's setting that boundary. I'm like, she's setting her boundary. And even as a person, I don't want to hear negativity. It's a clear boundary that is absolutely great to set, but then, and this is where I knew, like, some chaotic demons were working overtime, because the creator doubled down, She legit announces that she will read every Adalyn Grace book and give negative reviews on purpose. Okay. You know what? At this point, I needed a stretch, because the way my back cracked from the level of secondhand confusion and embarrassment. I was just there like, do you guys remember in the Twilight movie, in the Breaking Dawn movie, Breaking Dawn Part 1, if you did watch it, because yes, I did watch it. Y'all remember when Bella was giving birth? Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? That was me. That was me. Like, from the absolute shock of what I was witnessing, I said, not this girl. This girl is about to kill me. I said, I'm sorry? Did I read that? Did I hear that correctly? Oh my goodness. A creator saying that they're going to make it their life mission to find anything that an author writes and give it a negative review boldly? Ma'am, like, be for real. Like, be absolutely serious. We are not in a Wattpad villain arc. Are you okay? This is not the season finale of Riverdale, You cannot declare war on an author because she set boundaries and because people reminded you that tagging authors in hate is rude. Like, if anything, like, how about you attack the people who called you out, since that's what sets you off? Is it because Adalyn was reposting these? Is that why you decided, oh, I'm going to double down on my hate? Is that why? Like, are you okay? You know what? For most people who don't know, yes, I'm from the Caribbean. I moved to the UK for uni. But, this is what here in the UK, this is what we call tapped. You're tapped in the head. You're absolutely tapped. Are you okay? Like, are you well? Clearly not. This situation, it actually blew my mind. But the thing is, it says something bigger about book culture, like online book culture right now. We've entered an era where some reviewers think being cruel is being honest. And I don't understand that. Like, I don't. Where did you get that impression? They think, being edgy is having taste, or being rude is having standards. But there is a big, and I mean big, difference between honest critique and being a menace to society. The math is actually quite simple, and I have a feeling that you probably failed. Critique is, oh, this plot didn't work for me, and then you dive in for good critique. Harassment is, your book sucks and I'm tagging you so you know it. See, one is a review, the other is digital terrorism, if we're being honest. And this behavior, I'm gonna be the villain reviewer because it gets clicks, like, it's not edgy, it's not aesthetic, it's not a personality, okay? It's actually quite pathetic. Book reviewing is not a drag race, it's not where you make your big bold name as that girl, as that mean girl. Like, no, this is not the space for that. You're not competing to see who can annihilate an author most violently. I don't actually understand what this creator thought they were doing by starting this debacle, truly. And this is what really gets me. These same people, these same, like, edgy creators or wannabe edgy creators, they're going to cry, they're going to cry and say authors shouldn't comment on reviews. That's going to be their bold statement. And they're going to be saying as well, authors shouldn't be inside reviewer spaces. And obviously, like we said, we've established that boundary here, but you are sending the review to the author like a personalized hate newsletter, okay? if you tag an author in your negativity, you just invited them into the conversation. You brought them into the conversation. You welcomed them in. At that point, the boundary, I'm so sorry, that no longer applies to you, because you said, you know what, actually, I'm removing this boundary. Come in. So honestly, Adalyn Grace, you're better than me. You're better than me, because if this was me, like the first tag, oh, I'm going to let it slide. Benefit of the doubt. You might be a new reviewer. You don't know the clearly established rules of reviewing books, okay? But then when I clearly state that I do not want to be tagged in your negative reviews, when I clearly set a respectful boundary, I wasn't mean about it. Adalyn Grace wasn't mean about it, she didn't call her out her name, she didn't say anything, she just said, don't be tagging me in negative reviews, very politely, Adalyn Grace is nicer than me, because after you double down, after I set my clear boundaries, I'm going off on you, because remember, you've invited me into the conversation. So the whole, oh, you can't come into reviewer spaces anymore, oh, that don't apply anymore. I would have read her for filth. I would have roasted the crap out of her. You guys know me. If you have the audacity to be moving like this, you better believe that I can be audacious too. I can be audacious, okay? And my audacity is not like a lot of people's, okay? So you know what? Adalyn Grace, I have quite a lot of respect for you, because me, I would have gone off on her. I would have gone off on her respectfully, because I would have done without calling her out her name, but I would have gone off on her. I would have told her about herself in this here streets, okay? Because what you mean? What you mean, okay? You cannot yell about boundaries when you refuse to respect others. Hey, you refuse to respect an author's boundaries, but then you're talking about, oh, we have the boundary of you cannot come into our space. Okay. Play games if you want to. Play games if you want to, because you know what we say about it. Mess around and find out. Mess around and find out. Which is why I said, Adalyn Grace, bless you, because you're better than me. You are better than me, okay? This girl clearly just wants attention. She wants the engagement that comes with outrage, She wants to trend, even if it means bullying, setting herself up as legit a bully. Because, oh, you can have your 15 minutes of fame. You can have your time in the spotlight. But then you will now be known as that bully. Yeah, like, I legit, after this, I honestly hadn't heard about her or hadn't come across her page before the situation, but you better believe, I'm so sorry, the engagement will never come after this. Like, if I see your name anywhere, immediate blocking, like immediate, I don't want to hear it. Like, what the heck is this? You want to trend even if it means bullying? Are you okay? And you know what that is? The whole mindset of content over community that started taking over the bookish space, the disease that's been plaguing book talk and book threads and bookstagram and book spaces. And yeah, I call it a disease because it's not healthy. It's not healthy. It's not good. Seek help genuinely. And the thing is, this isn't about Adalyn Grace specifically, and this isn't even about that one creator with bad behavior, even though her behavior was poor, okay? This is about reviewer etiquette, this is the wider conversation that we need to have. Reviewer etiquette, parasocial relationships, we've spoken about that on this channel as well. Entitlements, yeah, we have to speak about that. The shifting culture of like online bookish spaces, and obviously the growing hostility between authors and reviewers when it comes to reviews. A lot of times we've seen that it's the authors in the wrong because they came into our spaces and they crossed that boundary when they weren't invited. But in a rare instance, we see it the other way around. And in the same way that we would call out an author for crossing boundaries, we're gonna call you out as well because you were wrong. You are wrong in doing this. Like, there's no excuse, okay? We are going to hold everyone accountable where they need to be held accountable. We're not going to have all the smoke, all the fire for the authors when they do wrong. And you think we're not going to come for you too? Girl, be real. Be for real, And all of these issues that I just listed, the parasocial relationships, the entitlement, all of this, these are things that make the community worse. There are things that give us the reputation of being crazy. Like, I remember at one point, Book Talk was always in the news, and people were just like, oh yeah, the Book Talk people are here. No, please leave us out of it. Leave us out of it. This is why I can't even identify with Book Talk anymore. I'm a reader. Leave me out of the whole Book Talk title, because, hey, they gave us such a bad name that we are now associated with chaos, drama, and insanity. And I'm so sorry. I don't associate with that. So absolutely not, It's all of these things. Uh, it makes people afraid to review. People don't feel safe reviewing books anymore. And authors don't feel safe existing if this is what you're going to do. Everyone is basically walking on eggshells, all because of a loud minority who treat reviewing like a performance art piece instead of an act of conversation. And you see this kind of public dragging, it discourages real review culture. If reviewers think honesty means to attack and criticism is equal to cruelty, honestly, no wonder we're drowning in fake 5-star reviews and curated niceness. People are scared. Oh my goodness. They're scared of backlash. They're scared of author retaliation. They're scared of dog piles. They're scared of being accused of bullying for expressing an opinion. So when someone like this shows up and goes nuclear for fun, it reinforces the worst dynamics of the bookish space. Like, it's just not good. It's not good. And honestly, these are the things that make me just want to run away from the bookish community, because why did you decide to destroy my peace like this on a just a random day? And you didn't even destroy my piece. You destroyed Adalyn Grace's piece. And then you decided to double down and destroy her piece even more. Like, bruh, you better know that you're blocked. I'm pretty sure, like, if Adalyn Grace hasn't blocked you yet, like, she's gonna block you if you try this crap again. Because what do you mean you're going to hunt down every one of my books and then, double down on just giving bad reviews? You think I'm going to see them? You're blocked. You're blocked immediately. Like, honestly, and if I was Adalyn Grace, a block wouldn't be enough. I'd report her behind. This is harassment. It's harassment. I would report her immediately. Like, immediate reporting. Like, if you want to move mad, like, let's move mad together. Let's do it, because you're crazy. And then, like, some people might be like, but Shelly, I'm not a professional reviewer. Correct. You are not a critic for The Guardian. No one is asking you to write MLA formatted essays on a book. No. But the thing is, professionalism is not a job description. It's a standard of community conduct, a standard that we establish as a community in the bookish space. We establish this. It's an unwritten rule, but a rule nonetheless. Yeah. Professionalism is not tagging authors in hate, not making harassment content, because that's what this was, not threatening authors with negative reviews as your life mission, and it's definitely not creating an unsafe environment for regular readers, because that's what she's doing here. You don't need a paycheck to behave with dignity. You don't need a paycheck to behave with integrity. You honestly just need sense, and you need kindness. And you know what? I feel like when I say this, I'm actually so shocked that I have to, like, make it clear that you just need sense, because I would think that it was common sense, but clearly that's not so common anymore, and it's scaring me how common sense is really just, we should call it rare sense now, because so many people lack it. It's absolutely terrifying, But you know what? I want us to psychoanalyze this. Keep in mind, I'm not a psychotherapist. I've not studied psychology, so this will obviously just be, light, playful, and of course a bit of shade. But, let's psychoanalyze this, okay? My theory for why she did this, like my first theory, clout chasing, being mean gets clicks. Meanness is equal to virality, But beyond that, there's another theory as well, parasocial delusion. Some reviewers think they're in a personal duel with authors when they don't like a book, and so they decide, okay, let's battle it out. Again, this parasocial delusion that I'm seeing more and more of, it's getting scary. But another theory I was having as well is, like, this is, the reason she did this is because, it's an identity investment, okay? She thinks that her taste defines her, and so a book offending her taste is a personal insult on her identity, I think that's part of the reason why she did this, but I'm not done, because as I was going through this, I had so many theories, and bruh, when I tell you I was going through, I was analyzing everything. My fourth theory is that, she literally has zero emotional regulation, like none at all. Someone says, don't tag me. And what her brain hears is revenge arc unlocked. Like literally no emotional regulation whatsoever. Like anything can set her off. She's absolutely insane. That was my fourth theory. And my last theory that I had as I was going through what appeared to be a phase of psychosis, and I do say this lovingly, like, lovingly. Some people simply need to touch grass and drink water and log out, okay? Because honestly, there was nothing else left for me to theorize. I'm like, if it's not any of the four, like, you just need to go and touch grass. That's it. And not even just log out, delete your account. Delete the account completely, because we've had enough of people like you. Like, let it go, And her aside, this Madame Mandeville, her aside, let me speak to the reviewers out there, whether, you're a content creator or not, or you just, post reviews every now and then on Goodreads or whatever other platform. Let's speak about how you can review without being, like crazy like her, essentially. I'm going to give you guys the blueprint. Very, very nice and simple. 1, critique the book, not the author. And I find this so annoying because I literally had to give a blueprint like this before in another video for a whole other situation, and I'm just like, okay, we have to keep doing this. Okay, critique the book, not the author. Okay, say things like the pacing was rough, not the author sucks because I didn't like it. I don't, let's do that. Okay. And number 2, keep your reviews in reader spaces. Okay, Goodreads, even though I don't like that app, but if you're going to stay on it, keep it there. Storygraph, they're my people right there. TikTok, okay? Instagram, without tagging anybody, YouTube, like we do here, yeah? Do not tag the authors in negativity. Like, do not. Like, I don't understand what we're not getting. This rule is older than the internet. I've had enough. I'm not saying it again. Be specific as well. Don't be spiteful, Saying the subplot in this book, it went nowhere. That's helpful, right? It was a bit, you can be a bit more specific, but I'm just giving examples. But the author is trash. It's giving spite. It's giving spite. Like, did she personally offend you? Like, what do you mean the author is trash? Is it like the author's writing is trash? Is even acceptable? Again, don't tag them when you say that. And I think something that we really have to take to heart, don't make it personal, in the sense that she really took this personal. Authors are humans. They're not content fodder. And I honestly feel like this creator was just trying to make content. She was just like, ooh, like people are engaging. People are engaging. Let me double down. Stop, And honestly, seeking revenge just for being corrected, yeah. It was interesting because this was literally a book review. This wasn't a John Wick sequel, so I don't even understand where she was coming from at all. Like, I don't. Like, girl, get it together. Honestly, when you see my reviews, even my older reviews, I keep it honest, I keep it respectful, I keep it about the story. I don't think I've ever attacked the author of anything. I'm just like, I'll be like, oh, I wish the author gave us more in the end. Again, I'm talking about the book. I never tag them in negativity. You're not finna catch me doing that. Absolutely not. That's a terrible thing to do. Obviously, a lot of times I critique with humor, but I also critique with nuance a lot of the time. Y'all know me. I don't be sugarcoating nothing. I be telling y'all when a book, if a book is all vibes, no plot, I will say it. And I've said it before, and I stand by what I say. Unless I reread it and I'm just like, oh, I have a change of opinion. But most times I'm not sugarcoating. I don't coddle. But I do maintain humanity because we are all humans. And because reviewing isn't war. I'm so sorry. It's conversation. It's analysis. It's part of the community. And people like the creator in this situation, Madame Mandeville, they chip away at that community, and I honestly don't like it. I think it's absolutely terrible. Like, girl, go touch grass. Like I said, go touch grass, please. Ugh. But yes, honestly, I'm not telling anyone to not review. You know, review freely, review honestly, review boldly. But don't become the cautionary tale, you know? Don't be the screenshot, as, you know, she has now become. Don't be the life mission meme, because I'm going to be referring to her as that girl who tried to make, you know, revenge her life mission for no reason whatsoever, you know? Don't be the person everyone whispers about on Reddit. Do you remember that one time, that girl? Like, you honestly, you just don't want to be the creator that authors have to block for their mental health. Not just authors, other readers, other reviewers, you know? Be better, be balanced, I think is the right word for this. But more than that, be human. Yeah, I think that would be the perfect way to kind of say this. Be human, you know? Books deserve better, reviews deserve better, authors definitely deserve better, and as you're reviewing a book, I would say reviewers deserve better as well. Like readers deserve better, because this is absolutely insane of you to do. And I would go so far as to say that you deserve better, because this is not speaking well of your character. Like, treat yourself kinder, my dear, please. Because doing all of this for clout or for content fodder, you deserve better. You deserve better. So, yeah, no, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Um, I'm really sorry that anyone made you think that this was necessary for you to do. You really do deserve better. But again, you also need to do better. And I think I'm going to leave it here. So that honestly is where I'm going to leave it. You know, I want you guys to read books, you know, and unless you're a therapist, you don't need to be reading people. And if you be reading people, don't be putting it out there. Don't be putting it out there. Thank you. Like, you know, critique stories, not lies, as a reviewer. That's your job. Okay? Thank you very much. And that's it from me. So I'll see you guys next time. And as always, you know, like, share, comment. I definitely want to hear your thoughts on this entire situation and just the whole, like, topic on a whole about reviewers and authors. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.